Shauna here, baking in our kitchen.
Ella and Steve.
That's what I thought I heard her say, but
Hey guys, welcome to Sip and Tea with Shawnee. I'm Shauna, and I brought along with me one of my favorite teas from a local tea shop, which is creme brulee. I put a little honey in it, and sometimes I can put a little bit of coconut milk in there to flavor it up a little bit too. I want to talk to you guys today about something that has been on my heart from last weekend, which was the voice of discouragement during the time right now of the coronavirus and COVID-19. And I'm sure there's so many of us out there that are discouraged over the things that are going on and how the world seems like sometimes it might be collapsing, and there's a lot of fear out there. But I want to speak specifically to those who are discouraged. And I know that there are quite a few people I have in my family where you're not considered an essential worker. So you might be a salon owner, a cosmetologist, or someone who gives massages, and here you are, you're not considered essential, even though I might argue that you kind of are. But you are trying to figure out how you're going to pay the bills. You might be discouraged because you're having to homeschool your kids now, and that's not something that you've ever had to do before, and you're trying to figure this whole thing out. Or you could be one of those graduates who are trying to finish up, and you're at this tail end of the race, and here you are trying to get done with high school or college, and you're slapped in the face with a lot of unknowns. And also those people who are coming up, they're getting married. I know I'm invited to some wonderful couples weddings coming up, and I'm sure there's a lot of discouragement there, thinking they've planned so hard for something that, might not happen or might not happen the way that they thought it would. I want to encourage you today that there are a lot of us out there who have walked that same road, and you're not alone. I remember when my husband and I, we were 18 and 19 and we were getting married. And we had so many obstacles sometimes that we had to jump over, but we also had a lot of things that really fell into place that just showed us that this was something that we were going to be successful at. It might be hard, but we were going to be able to do this marriage, and even at a young age. And one of the things that ended up happening was, and it's a story for another day, but a lot of my husband's family didn't end up coming to the wedding. And we were really hoping that as time went on, people would make different choices and that they would still support us and love us anyways. And that didn't happen. So we were really disappointed that he had only a handful of people, and those were some of the closest to him, but we didn't have, a lot of support from his side of the family. And we also, the ring bearer was pulled the morning of the wedding, and that was pretty disappointing because we were scurrying to try and find somebody else who could take his place, and the tux didn't fit, and it was a whole crazy scenario. And also 2 days before the wedding, my car got sideswiped driving home from work, and our honeymoon was going to be a trip in the western states, and it was going to be driving because, of course, what else could an 18 and 19-year-old afford? And that was out of the question. So there were definitely some disappointments that came along, even though the actual wedding went about with not too many hiccups overall, which is again for another story. But it was hard. It was hard. But looking back now, the actual way the engagement went, or the actual reception, or the actual wedding itself, weren't at the points of what we were trying to accomplish, which was to be married to one another and commit to loving each other here. So I want to encourage you, for those who are getting married, I know it seems pretty downtrodden, and I get it. I would feel the same way. Disappointment, you're allowed to feel. But I also want to encourage you that as time goes on, it will be a little bit less hurtful. You will be able to look back, and sometimes we almost laugh at some of the things that happened, just knowing that it just grew us in our love for each other and in our faith. So also, with high school, I was moved. My parents decided to move 2 months before my junior year was over, and I had been going to a school with kids from 6th grade pretty much through my junior year. And now I had to go to a whole new high school in a new area. My senior year, we were supposed to be top dog, I'd worked really hard throughout high school so that my schedule would be really easy. And when we moved, the new high school said, no, there's lots of classes you didn't take, and we're going to make you take them. And I was in classes with freshmen and trying to make new friends and trying to become a part of this new environment. And that was pretty tough. But I would have to say, in looking back, I'm so glad that I made that move, because not only did I get away from some things that maybe I should have gotten away from, nothing too crazy, but it did give that separation. But also I met my husband, and he's amazing and he loves me, and we've been together for quite some time now. So I am grateful for that move, or because I might not have met him otherwise. So these are things that we can try and find the positive things when it seems like there's tragedy going on, or frustrations, or we're just really let down. But of course, even with discouragement. So I want to leave you with a verse from Hebrews that is Hebrews 13:5, and it talks about us being content with basically what we have, and that God will never leave us or forsake us. So if what we're given is the time that we have right now, then we're going to be content to live in it, even though we might be disappointed with what's going on, even though it might make us sad, and it's okay, we might cry some tears, that we are content with what we're given, and that we realize that God tells us He will never leave us or forsake us. So whether you're a believer or not a believer, I just still want to ask you, encourage somebody. Be positive. Be a positive light in their life. And, let's try and bring out the things that could perhaps be something beautiful out of something that seems like it's ashes. So again, thank you so much for having your tea with me, and I will see you next time.